They do missions, and so this missionary and his team are finding themselves coming under the pressure of the missionary organization. And in fact, he's finding himself being pushed out of this missionary organization. Why? Because they got a rule that says that healing doesn't happen today. So if healings are happening today, well, what they see is not God working, and maybe the rules are wrong. What they see is something they got to crack down on. Where you find religion, you'll often find bizarre rules and bizarre behavior. How is that possible? Now, to understand it, we got to get on the inside of religion. And that's the main thing I want to do here this morning. Help us to understand the nature of religion. Now, a few little qualifiers. First, I taught world religions in a university for 16 years, and I've read all of the major religious books, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Book of Mormon, the Quran, the I Ching. I've read those, and I want to say that I find a lot of value in some of those books and a lot of truth in some of those books, and sometimes it's even inspiring. And so I don't want to say that everything about religion is evil. I'm not saying that. I also want to say that most people who practice religion, I'll call them religionists, are sincere people. And God knows that, and God honors that. And so I'm not up here trying to say who's saved or who's not saved or anything of the sort. God alone knows that, and He's in a position to judge that. We're not. But I do want to say, as clear as I know how, that the heart of religion is antithetical to the kingdom and the main obstacle to the kingdom. Now, scholars debate the definition of religion all the time, and it's hard to find one definition that covers everything that somebody might call religious. So I'm not going to try to settle that dispute. But for our purposes, I want to submit this definition. It doesn't cover everything, but it will work for this morning. Religion, I would define as a system of beliefs and behavior that people embrace to get okay with whatever picture of God or the gods they happen to believe in. They have a picture of God or the gods, and the conviction is that if we just believe these things, and if we just do these things, well, then the gods won't be mad at us, and maybe the gods will reward us. If I just believe these things and do these things, then I can be saved. Then the gods will like me. And so the Pharisees here have a set of rules, and they believe if they just meticulously follow these rules and enforce these rules at all costs, well, then God will like them and won't be mad at them. And many Christians have this religious mindset. If Christianity is mainly about believing these certain things here and doing these certain behaviors here and not doing these certain behaviors, and if we just do that, well, then God will like us. Then we'll be saved and we won't be punished. And maybe somebody's here saying, well, yeah, isn't that what it's about? Isn't that what Christianity is? What's wrong with that? And it's good to believe the right things and be involved in good behavior. But see, that mindset misses the heart of the kingdom. Because the heart of the kingdom isn't first and foremost about believing the right things and doing the right things. The heart of the kingdom is about being transformed by a new kind of life. It's the life of the eternal God flowing into us and flowing through us and changing us, and then through us changing the world. It's about life. And if our mindset is the religious mindset, it keeps us from entering into real life. Now, to get us to see that, I'm going to use an analogy. Most of you know what a sociopath is. Maybe you've known some sociopaths. A sociopath is somebody who has an inability, for whatever reason, an inability to see the world from another person's perspective. An inability to enter into the feelings of another person. They don't have any ability to empathize. In fact, to a real sociopath, the only person is them. Other people and every other thing is simply a prop. And they learn how to manipulate the props and manipulate the world to meet their own needs. A true sociopath is like a narcissist on steroids. The universe centers around them. Other people aren't really even other people. The first sociopath I ever really got to know was a young lady in a home. When I was in seminary, I worked in a juvenile delinquent center, and this young lady, wonderful lady, could have been in a lot of ways, but she was terribly abused as a kid, and one of the fallouts of that was that she was a sociopath. She had no ability to really feel emotions for another person. What was amazing, though, is this, and this is true of most sociopaths. The only reality they know is behavior. People are just a package of behaviors to them. And so they learn how to study behavior and how to parrot emotions. And they become experts at that. And so this Carol that I knew was able to, she just knew exactly what to say and what to do to make it look like she was actually feeling something for somebody if there was something in it for her. I saw her sometimes interact with other girls in this house that I was at, where they stayed. And when there was something she wanted from another girl, she could get in the box with her. She could, sometimes her eyes would tear up. She would look like she was so concerned and felt the other person's pain and all of that. But the minute she got what she wanted, boom, all done. In fact, in a few cases, she would mock the girl who actually was deluded into thinking that she really cared, and she'd laugh at her. It was a streak of cruelty that was incredible. But that is the nature of a sociopath. They know behavior, they study behavior, and they can parrot emotions very, very good. Religion is a little bit like that. In fact, I think it's a lot like that. Follow this analogy. Let's suppose there's a guy who's a sociopath. Let's call him Bill. My apologies to all the Bills listening right now. His name is Bill. And let's suppose that for some reason, somehow, a guy came to him and said, Bill, here's the deal. If you can convince a woman that you are a perfect husband for 5 years, you'll get $10 million. But if you don't convince her after 5 years, then you're going to be thrown into prison the rest of your life. Now, since the sociopath is a narcissist on steroids, Bill's going to be very motivated to convince a woman that he's a perfect husband for 5 years. So what Bill will do, and this is what sociopaths are good at, he'll study behavior. He'll study what do guys do who are good at getting women to marry them, and he'll study the behavior. He'll know what to say. He'll know what to do, and then he'll study what good husbands do with their wives. He'll read books. He'll watch movies. Whatever it takes to learn the behavior of a good husband. And so he'll go out and successfully get a woman, and then he'll start being married to her. And he'll say all the right things. He'll do all the right things. He knows exactly when to lower his voice and sound concerned. And you put your hand on her shoulder to let her know that you really understand. And when she's sick, you bring her breakfast in bed. And he knows exactly what to say and exactly what to do to come across as a perfect husband. He's got it all down perfect. But because he's a sociopath, there's nothing genuine about it. There's no genuine love there for this other person. The thing about Bill, since he's a sociopath, he doesn't know that this isn't genuine. He's never felt the real thing. To him, love means acting a certain way. Compassion means acting a certain way. That's all he knows. Since he's an expert on behavior, studies behavior, he becomes a trained judge of other husbands' behavior. He notices when other people aren't doing exactly the right thing. He's the expert. He maybe gets angry when other husbands don't exactly say it right and do it right. He becomes an expert judge. If he was politically inclined, he might even try to pass laws in Congress about husbands being good husbands, and they need to say the right thing. We need a law. He'd lobby Congress to try to pass a law that husbands need to, when they're showing compassion, put their hand on their wife's shoulder and look concerned and lower their voice. And when their wives are sick, you got to bring them breakfast in bed, and you got to greet them warmly in the morning. We need laws about this. But see, to healthy people looking in on this, they'll say, that's profoundly sick. Because obeying laws doesn't make you a good husband. And if you are a good husband, you don't need the laws. It's sick. But to Bill, since the only reality he knows is behavior, it makes perfect sense. And so we need to control behavior. That's Bill's world. Now the question is this: would Bill's wife be convinced after 5 years that he was a good, even a perfect husband? Maybe at first. I mean, it'd be really nice to have a guy who says all the right things, always picks up his dirty clothes, never any dirty underwear hanging around, always considerate, always kind. But I submit to you that after a while, she'd begin to pick up on something. Something's wrong here. Something's missing here. It's too scripted. It's too perfect. It's too predictable. There's not enough spontaneity or playfulness or human fallibility. There's a sense of life and a sense of genuine love that's missing here. His eyes don't really communicate love, and even though he parrots voice intonation so well with his voice, there's something missing there. She began to sense that. And I submit to you that even though she wouldn't know about the $10 million reward or the threat of prison, after some time, Bill's wife, if she's healthy, would begin to suspect that Bill's relationship with her isn't a real relationship. It's really all about him. He lives in the question, how am I doing? How am I performing?